Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdullah Khaled, and today marks a very special episode. Today is a combination episode between days 6 and 7 because I wasn't able to record day 6. So today I'm doing something special to mark the first whole week of this video series being online, where I'm going to be talking about my reflections so far, not only during this series, but also just in general about life so far, how I've been going about my goals, and how I'd like to go about them going forward. So, before that, I'd like to mention what I did on day 6, which really wasn't that much, which is why I didn't feel necessarily the need to rush to include it, where it was mostly just stuff getting admin tasks done before I was going on vacation. Since I'll be traveling, that means I couldn't really do as much as I would in terms of like productivity, but I did do a lot of stuff in terms of just getting myself ready for the rest of the break and just enjoying myself. I spent a lot more time with my family. I got to make some really yummy food, and I got to spend time with my brother while doing that. And we worked on a recipe today. That's all very fun and good. But I think in terms of productivity stuff, I did do a lot in between yesterday and today, where I got a lot of applications done, and that has been very helpful. I got to attend a meeting, which was incredibly helpful for helping me guide my thinking about a particular program that I was interested in, but I needed a little bit more direction in how I wanted to approach it. And I also got some help with just figuring out what I wanted to do in general. I think one of the biggest developments I've made so far was that I found a document from the Air Force. I believe it is the AFI 11 405, where it talks about the pilot physician program. I think this is the most up to date document that they have on the program that's currently posted online. I don't know if they've somehow where that they've discontinued the program or if there's more recent information, but to my knowledge, that's the most correct document that they have on the topic so far, and I think that's really helpful because that's kind of what line of work that I want to end up doing in the Air Force if I don't end up going another route, where I'd be able to become a pilot and a flight surgeon and have all of the different ratings and credibility for that, so I could be a subject matter expert. One reason I found this document super helpful on my journey is because it outlines very clearly what the different paths are for the people who want to become this position, because it's a very, very selective amount of people. Only, I believe, two or four people are selected around a year for this program, if any. And the people who do get in there, there's only around 12 of them, to my most current information. Because when I did look it up on YouTube or on Google, other sources, a lot of the information was very either old, like 10 years ago, like 2015, or it wasn't very conclusive on the specific program I was looking into. But now that I found this document, it outlined everything from the training plans to the requirements to continue to the people you'd be reporting to and how the position would progress. So I think that's really helpful in my journey, especially because it outlined how I would be transitioning from a medical background where I'd complete my medical school, I'd complete my internships, and then I would begin my flight training, where I'd get my flight training after doing a year of flight surgery as operations as a flight surgeon, and I'd begin my flight training. And so, the one reason I find this incredibly valuable is because it gives me a timeline, especially because the flight requirements, you kind of get aged out by age 30, since by that point you're not allowed to go and train for flight training. That means I have to get everything done on a very tight schedule in order to make sure I meet my goals and exceed them and make sure that I get in all of the stuff on time for boards and whatnot. So that way I can get in, get my flight training, pass the boards, and go on and serve as a subject matter expert in aerospace medicine, which is what I want to do. So that's been super cool. I'm thinking of printing out that document and putting it somewhere very special. That way I'm able to look at it and reference it in case I need more clarification. I'm also thinking of talking to my cadre about it just in case to make sure that I don't accidentally get something wrong or I don't misinterpret something. Because again, a lot of those documents are, I'm not exactly sure how up to date they are. And if someone would have a more current version, I would love to look at that and rather than make some decisions based on incorrect information. Now, for some reflections on what I've been doing so far. I think over this break, I've kind of put myself in a little bit of a fantasy, and I think I should be coming down earth to a little bit more. I think I should be focusing on systems. I think systems are incredibly important, and I think I realize how important they are just seeing how being unstructured over this break has caused me to differ and kind of struggle almost. I think I shouldn't try to be perfect every single day because I don't think that's physically possible. But I think I should be doing as I should be working towards improving my systems and getting myself more consistently. And I don't think I should be living up to a fantasy or unrealistic expectation that I have for myself because I don't think that's very helpful to what I'm doing since it'll either stress me out or it'll make me burn out or do something that'll eventually harm my progression instead of helping it. So I think instead I should be thinking about how I can just be the best at the basics and just work from there because practice it might make doesn't make perfect because what really does make perfection is perfect practice. So I really just need to get down on the basics, especially on my path to become looking into the pilot physician thing because that program it requires you just to have a lot of knowledge and a lot of different bases and it requires you to maintain a lot of the skills that you have for a long time. So I just want to make sure that I have the basics, I have the knowledge, the physical and the leadership capabilities before I go into that, and I want to make sure that I keep on maintaining them and they're not just something that I magically will out of thin air. So that's something that is I would like to keep in mind going forward. I want to push myself to do better and just become my best version of myself over time. It's not a race, it's a marathon, and I just need to do more aligned with what reality entails instead of what I have in my head. But I do think that having ambitions is a good thing though, because it definitely helped me along my goals. I think having those kind of high goals for myself in the long term definitely helps me narrow myself down in the short term. It helps me realize the importance of doing things right and searching for opportunities to do things better and find ways to align myself early. That way I can be more prepared than other people in case I have to compete with them for boards or slots or anything along those lines. I think another thing that I realize is really important is my sleep schedule, since I think my sleep probably has my biggest impact out of everything I'm doing so far, based just off of what I'm doing during break. I think if I could get a consistent sleep schedule, that'd solve a lot of the issues that I'm experiencing, and it would really help my productivity and my physical recovery and whatnot. So I think that's definitely something I need to prioritize. I think sometimes in the past I would think of it as like an obstacle to my goals, where I felt like if I wasn't actively doing something, I was getting behind. But I think I should emphasize more recovery, and that I can't just keep on going and going and going. Eventually, things are going to come to a halt, and I would rather those come to a halt on my own terms rather than me not being able to control it, especially with my goals in mind. Because if I happen to injure myself because I didn't recover, or I happen to have a slip in my grades because I couldn't maintain a proper sleep schedule, that'd be way more impactful and put me way off my timeline for my pilot physician goals. So I would rather just take the hit and sleep and then recover later instead of burning myself out to the point where I can't recover and I won't be able to continue on that path. So that's something I definitely want to keep in mind going forward. Another thing that I have really come to appreciate is just taking the time to get started and just to keep going afterwards. I think sometimes I have a fear of perfection where that keeps me from doing what I can right away. But I think just getting started and trying things and just going for it, even if it isn't 100% the best, I think that's better because truthfully, there is no 100%. Something could always be better. But I think just getting started and just failing is probably the best thing that you can do in that moment because you have to fail a lot. So you might as well fail on your own terms and do them in a way where you can actually learn from them rather than doing them and avoiding failure your entire time in whatever you're doing, and then hoping you can coast by only to fail at the end and suffer the consequences then. I think that's something I should definitely try to do more. I should embody taking calculated risks because risks are dangerous, but they're also kind of what's needed to push the envelope on what we're supposed to be doing, especially in like the military and in engineering. We have to be a little bit ambitious and we have to be prepared for the consequences, of course, but we also have to make sure that they don't let us stop ourselves from doing things that could help us become better leaders, better thinkers, and better people in general. So that's something I've really come to learn over my course of time in my first semester of ROTC, especially. I think that's a lesson that I should try to apply in other areas of my life, and I think it'd be very useful for other people who have similar goals or just ambitions in general. So I think going forward, my videos are going to be a little bit more sporadic, but that's mostly because of vacation. So I think the formatting, I'll try to keep it as consistent as possible, but we'll probably be in different places every now and again. So that'll just be an update for you guys. And I want to see if I can incorporate more parts of the journey as well. I think maybe incorporating some workout stuff once I get to that point where I'm able to record in a proper gym. Of course, respecting privacy and whatnot. That would be really cool, I think, and it'd be a good way to bring in some more life to the series and kind of help show that this isn't just something that I can talk about, but it's something that I can live and breathe and push my way through. So, until then, this has been day 6 and 7 of my video series. Goodbye.